I've been involved with tea, let's see, probably since 1928, when my brother left and went to South Africa, and then ended up in Malawi, and had started a tea plantation there. So for a long time, that was what he did. Then, when I went to see him in 1976, he had already decided that planting the tea trees, you know, the tea trees, we think of it as a plant. It's not a plant, it's a tree. And the trees used to be very, very tall, and only the top of the tree had the leaves, the tea leaves.
Yeah.
So you had to climb the tree to get the leaves, okay? So eventually they were able to recultivate the tree and bring it down to 5 feet. So now all little tea trees are only 4 to 5 feet tall. So they have loads and loads of do I have a picture? No, I don't. Yes, I think I do. They have loads and loads of area that they can grow their tea. So when I went to Africa, that's what my brother had turned to. Instead of making trees, he started to build. I'll pass it around. He started to build, to bake, and to grow the little tea plants. So these little tea plants is what he would send and sell to the tea planters, so they didn't have to start from scratch with this. Oops. Yeah.
That's a seed?
These, you pass them on. Those are tea seeds.
Teas, oh, they're so big.
Yeah,
Amazing.
those are tea seeds.
They're like acorns. Yeah, they're almost the
Acorns.
Yeah.
Like an acorn for an oak.
Yeah. Yeah, the oak grows big.
What?
Right, it's like an acorn on an oak tree.
I suppose it's similar. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the tree grows very big from tiny little seed.
Yeah.
Ah,
Those are
even
tea-
tea from
those
this.
are the
Tea seeds.
Ah, the seed.
And
Yeah.
they
She's
grow.
a seed.
Now they grow this big. So this is what my brother planted. Were these little plants from those seeds that you got there. Okay? So he, I think I got it. But he had to plant them, he planted them on the mountainside. This is, I'll pass this so you can see it. But this is the Helene G mountain range that you can see. And all of his plantations were at the base of that mountain, you know, quite far away. But that's the kind of place that they enjoy living, the little plants, okay? So you can take this and you can pass it around. Okay, here we go. Down through. So while you're looking at that, I'll tell you about tea. Now, there's stories that we've heard about tea, but mostly it's been myth, you know. Annie gave us a talk on tea too. But the real story of tea and how it's become a beverage all over the world. So many stories of tea, but most of them are myths. The Chinese have their tales, and the Japanese have their tales. and the Burmese have another tale to tell. All are related to the discovery of tea, but early history has been lost in antiquity. That author, Eucas, this gentleman that I had pleasure of meeting, has taken his what they call real-time information from Chinese sources, because they're the most reliable sources. And in 1928 he started to write these two books, and he finished them in 1935, which was when my husband went to Standard Brands and started to work for them. And he was a tea taster. And so when he was with them for about 30 years, but then when he got sick, he got cancer. And when he got sick and had to leave Standard Brand, they gave him this book. So I met Mr. Eucas, and he was a he was an elderly man when I met him. But I got both this book and the other one that tells you all about how tea is distributed throughout the world. But this is kind of nice. This is all of the world where we find tea, all through here. I'll pass it to you. Where I have ticked it off, because you can't go through all of them, you find here's Canton. In Canton, China, they have the biggest in Canton, but these are all tea buildings that you see there, and they grow nothing but all different kinds of tea here. This is where they process the tea. Okay? So you can look through that. But tea dates back to 2737 BC. Now that is a long time. It's the only beverage that we have and drink today that is that ancient. No other beverage, not coffee, not anything else. But 2737 BC. And it includes a legendary emperor named Shen Nung. I think I'm saying it right. And he was called the divine healer. And he used tea for his people for medicinal purposes. And the name tea, or cha, only dates back to 620 and 907 AD. And it was the time of the Sang dynasty. Originally, this beverage was named Ku. Am I saying it right? Ku? Ku?
Ku. I don't know.
Ku?
It depends on your
Kutu?
dialect.
Kutu. But that was the 4th century. That's what they called it, Kutu.
Okay.
And there was a Cohen Stewart who was a doctor and a botanist.
Yeah.
He made an exhaustive examination dealing with the origin of tea. And he discovered that the birthplace of tea was in a very large area north of Assam. Assam, if you're looking at the map like this is India, and this is China, okay? You're looking at the map. This is India, this is China. And on this side of the east of India, the whole of that eastern Bede, they grow tea all the way down to Burma. And then when they get to the Indochina mountains, the tea grew off and popped into China. And that's why the Chinese were the first ones to find tea and to recognize what it was and to develop tea. So this man went to the old Chinese records to be able to put his book together, because they were very reliable. So he's north of Assam, down to the east of India and Burma, and then across the mountains to Siam and Indochina. Then north to a Chinese province named Yunnan, I hope I'm saying it
Yes.
right, Yunnan, where it became the drinking beverage and spread throughout China and Japan. So this should satisfy all the countries involved in the discovery of tea, because everybody thought that they discovered tea. They didn't. It grew there. And the exclusive right to the beverage. Tea was never a plant, as I told you. It was a tree, and you had to climb to reach the leaves. It was only later, when tea plantations became popular, that both the Chinese and other countries learned to plant the seeds and turn what was once a large tree into the present, hi there, Laura, 4-foot to 5-foot bushes. Then tea became the ubiquitous beverage in a world that considered it the cure-all for every conceivable disease and discomfort that mankind was able to conjure up, from early civilization to our sophisticated world today. An earache called for a tea poultice. So did a sore throat, and a sore tooth, and a swollen anything anywhere. And it worked. I know, because I and my siblings were the recipients of all of them when we were growing up. Somebody got a sore throat, stick a tea poultice on the throat. And of course, don't let's forget the high society ladies of the 18th century, from all over Europe to New York and beyond, who were not to be undone regarding this new beverage, and made it an essential part of their society life, and entertained with tea and crumpets, tea and dainties, tea at any time. And of course, from them tea became nationally everybody. Even it was the cheapest tea you could buy. In the beginning, it was very expensive. For a quarter of a pound of tea cost 13 pounds of English money. A quarter of a pound of tea. So that probably, I don't know what the dollar exchange was in the 20s. I would have no way of knowing. But I know it was $5 when I came over here, and then it dropped to 89 cents. So now everything is very expensive. You go to England, you pay through the nose for what you need over there. So it's very expensive. So 4 pounds, 5 shillings for 2 pounds of loose tea. And I can translate it for you because I don't know what the value is. So what do you need for tea to be able to drink it and taste the tea? Because this is really what we're interested in, is tasting tea. You need a table that swivels. My husband had a huge table, much bigger than that, where maybe 15 men could sit around. You'll see it in you'll see it in the book there. Could fit around, and they would have a little Bunsen, like a Bunsen. Do you know what a Bunsen burner is? Like a Bunsen burner, that they would boil this water in here, put it on there, boil the water. No, they'd have a kettle. There's my kettle. They'd have that kettle. They'd boil the water in that kettle. Put the tea in this cup. See where it's, and then the water, and let it steep for however many minutes they wanted to do.